Welcome to section 4 of Java Enterprise Edition 8 hands-on training. This section is about integration with JAX-RS. In this section, we are going to create a simple JAX-RS application which uses JSON processing to demonstrate how JAX-RS is integrated with JSON-B. We are going to deploy this application and run it on Glassfish 5 application server. And here is the first video of this section, sample project setup. Let's get started. In this video, I'm going to create and demonstrate is an enterprise application running on Glassfish 5 application server. In order to properly compile it and run it, you need to have some tools installed. And first of all, what we need is Java. And we need Java version 8. So look, I have here 1.8025. It's a bit old, but still fine. Second tool we need is Maven. And I have Maven 3.5.0. And the last thing we need is actually Glassfish 5 application server, which I already downloaded from Glassfish official page and extracted it into my home folder here. So take a look here, Glassfish 5. So I have it here. In order to properly run the application, we actually need to start Glassfish 5 application server, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to the bin directory and I'm actually running this script with start domain parameter, which actually creates a domain if I don't have it created. So it creates it and it runs it. So we have now Glassfish 5 server running. Now let's switch to my IDE and I'll demonstrate you, I'll show you the template for the application, what I have. And this is the application I'm going to create. I already pre-created some files just to save time, but resources are empty. You see that it's just the templates, just the classes, nothing there is inside. This is going to be a RESTful web service, which is going to demonstrate JSON pointer and JSON patch functionality. I will cover everything in the next video. What I would like to mention here, first of all, let's take a look at POM XML file. You see that this is pretty much small and it has only one dependency. And this dependency is to Java EE API and it's provided and it's version 8. So we're using Java EE 8. And the packaging for this project is actually var. It's an enterprise application. I'm going to deploy this var into Glassfish 5 application server. I told about you already. And we have a couple of plugins. First, we have compiler plugin with source and target set to 1.8. And the second plugin is Maven var plugin, which is going to produce our var. It will be called JSON-B. The second thing I would like to show that this is actually a RESTful service. It's a JAX-RS application. And here is the application main class, right? So we are registering here our application root and we are actually registering our resources here. We are going to have two resources. One is for JSON pointer demonstration and another one for JSON patch demonstration. For our resources, I already said that they are empty, but if you see here, both of them, I extend some kind of base resource. So what is that and why it is there? Let's just switch to base resource. And it's actually a simple class which holds the state. It holds a JSON array called data and has two methods, get data and set data. Basically, get data method has a lazy initialization of our data JSON array. If it's empty, it actually reads it from resources from our favorite JSON.json file. This is the same file I used in all previous demonstrations. If you want to take a look what is that, it looks like this. This is a JSON array containing 3 objects: JSON born, JSON Voorhis, and JSON from ancient Greece, the elite of Argonauts. This file I'm going to use for my demonstrations. Basically, again, this is a lazy initialization. If we get data and it's not been initialized yet, then data is read from our resources. So it was an overview of the demo application. So we covered all requirements, required application software which have to be installed in order to properly compile and run the demo application. Introduction to JSON binding and Yasson. In this section, I'll give you an overview of JSON binding API and Yasson, show where to find information about it on the internet, and set up a simple project I'll use in next videos to demonstrate JSON binding features. Let's get started. Here is the first section 5 video, JSON binding overview. In this video, I'll give you an overview of JSON binding API and Yasson and show related internet resources such as official web pages, issues trackers, and source code repositories. And we will start with one-sentence description of JSON binding. JSON binding is an API to serialize, deserialize Java objects to and from JSON documents. It's a standard describing all the conversion mechanisms and algorithms. Here I have a small example for better understanding. Imagine that we have a class customer. It has some fields and maybe some methods. We make an instance of this class, initializing its fields with some values. Now we want to make a JSON document which represents this class. In other words, serialize it into JSON document. This document should look like this. Later, we may want to create a new customer class and initialize it with data from this JSON document. In other words, deserialize it. So, where is JSON-B here? JSON-B is here. It defines the rules how Java class is converted to JSON document and vice versa. JSON-B is a new API included in Java Enterprise Edition 8. Unlike JSON processing, which is a low-level API to work with JSON, JSON binding is high-level API which doesn't work with JSON directly but operate Java objects. It's like what JSON-B is doing in the XML world. Goal of creating a standard JSON binding API was not inventing another API. The goal was to analyze existing JSON binding APIs like Jackson, Genson, and JSON and standardize the most useful and common features. Genson and JSON creators are members of JSON-B experts group. We were working together with other experts to build the standard. JSON binding provides a rich set of defaults based on iJSON standard and provides abilities to customize mappings using annotations and runtime configuration. JSON-B and JSON-P are related technologies. JSON binding uses JSON processing internally for low-level JSON manipulation, parsing, and generating JSON documents. Together, these two APIs provide a full JSON support in Enterprise Java. All Java EE specifications are created using Java Community Process. JSON binding JSR number is 367. According to JCP, a group of experts must develop a standard API, reference implementation, and a set of technology compatibility tests or TCK. And here I'm coming to the point of explaining what Yasson is. Yasson is JSON binding API reference implementation. Now let me demonstrate where to find information about JSON-B and Yasson on the internet, official websites, issues trackers, source code repositories, and so on. This is Java Community Process homepage. In order to open a JSON binding JSR page, you just type 367 here, which is JSON binding JSR number, and press enter or go button here. And you get redirected to JSR 367, which is JSON API for JSON binding, as you see here, homepage. What you can find here? Here you can find a history of JSR development from the JSR review to the final release. All the dates are here, and links to the downloads of the spec is also here. Also, you can find the team expert group who was developing this API, from which companies these people are. You see that Eugene from Yasson is here, and Inderjeet, the creator of JSON, is also here. But the main purpose of coming here, of course, to download their specification. In order to do it, find the final release in the history and click download page. You get redirected to a download page, and just click download here. And you see all files available to download. Here is the spec. Here are the sources of API. Here are the Java docs, and here are the binaries of the API. Unlike JSON processing, their specification is provided only as Java docs. JSON-B provides specification in PDF format. This is quite convenient. In order to download here, you need to click here. But before that, you need to accept the license agreement by clicking the checkbox here. If you click on the spec, you just download it in PDF format. It looks like this. You can read it. It has everything needed to start development with JSON binding API. Another website worth mentioning here is JSON binding homepage. It's located at jason-b.net. It contains everything needed to quickly start with JSON binding. Here is the download link, here is the getting started guide, and down below are code snippets for quick start. If you go to the menu, you can access user's guide, which looks like that. It contains a lot of useful information. In the contributors menu, you can go to contribute and see how to access discussion boards, issues tracker, source code repository, and JSR 367 page I just showed to you. Let's take a look at the source code repository. Just click on the link here, and you'll be redirected to GitHub. JSON binding API is an open source project. It's hosted on GitHub. So here you can find the source code, a simple description, links again, and more important is issues tracker, which is also located here. You can see what issues are reported. You can file your own bug or feature request. So this is quite useful link. Just remember where it is. Now let's talk about Yasson. Yasson is JSON binding reference implementation, and it's Eclipse Foundation project. So in order to quickly find it, just open eclipse.org/projects page and type Yasson here in the search box. Click enter, and you will get the search result Eclipse Yasson. See it here. So click it, and you'll be redirected to Yasson Eclipse Foundation page. You see that it's a part of Eclipse Enterprise for Java. And on this page, you see main thing is releases, current releases, and latest releases, and future releases. So you can see what releases are planned. You also can download the latest versions of Yasson, see who's involved, see the Maven repositories, and these kind of things. Developer resources contains links to source code repositories and issue tracker. And again, source code is located on GitHub. Let me click it. Here it is, Yasson on GitHub. It's a part of Eclipse organization. So you can download source code here. And maybe more important thing is issues tracker, which is also located on GitHub. Here you can see what issues are reported, which issues are in progress, and you can submit your bug here or submit your feature request here. This is the end of JSON binding and Yasson overview. Welcome to Section 6 of JSON in Java Enterprise Edition 8 hands-on training. This section covers JSON binding default mapping. In this section, I'll explain what JSON-B default mapping is, and we'll learn about rules it defines for mapping of basic and JDK specific types, arrays, list, collections and enumerations, date-time types, JSON-P types, generic types, classes and class fields. We'll also study default fields ordering and default fields visibility policy. Let's get started. Here is the first Section 6 video, Default Mapping Overview. In this video, I'll explain what default mapping is, what's its scope, and how to create JSON-B engine with default settings. The first question comes is, what is default mapping? It's a set of rules used by JSON-B engine by default. By default means that the engine is created without any configuration passed and no customization annotations defined on classes. JSON-B is designed to provide defaults designed to maximize interoperability. These defaults follow iJSON profile. iJSON is a short for Internet JSON, which is a restricted profile of JSON designed especially for this purpose. iJSON is an IETF standard defined in RFC 7493. JSON-B default mappings support the most of iJSON features, but there are 3 exceptions. I'll talk about it later in the next section. Default mapping defines mappings of basic types and JDK specific types, arrays, list, collections and enumerations, date-time types, Java util and Java time packages, JSON-P types, classes and class fields. It also specifies default field ordering and field visibility policy. I'll cover all these rules in the next videos. Now let's switch to our sample application and talk about JSON-B engine and how to create it with default settings. So now we are in our sample application, and the first thing I'm going to do is to explain what is JSON-B engine, which I mentioned sometimes in this video. JSON-B engine is class called JSON-B, java-x.jsonbind. It looks like this, and this is the main class you are going to work in your application. It contains a variety of from JSON and to JSON methods, which are used to deserialize in case of from JSON, or serialize in case of to JSON, from and to JSON document. These methods are overloaded, they accept different parameters. You see that you can deserialize from input stream, from reader and from string basically, and serialize to output stream, to writer and to string. Now let's go back to our application, and I will demonstrate how to create JSON-B engine with default settings. And it's very easy. So JSON-B engine is created using JSON-B builder class, JSON-B builder.create. That's it. This is just one line of code which creates JSON-B engine with default settings. So now you can do something like JSON-B to JSON and pass there something like integer value of 1000, let's put it this way, and you will get some result, but we will talk about it in the next video. It was an overview of JSON-B default mapping. Welcome to Section 7 of JSON in Java Enterprise Edition 8 hands-on training. This section covers JSON-B customized mapping. In this section, I'll talk about customizations. We'll study what kind of customizations are supported and we'll learn each of them. We'll start with basic customizations such as property names and property order changing, ignoring properties, using different date, time, and number formats, and changing the default way of processing null values. At the end of this section, we'll study advanced customizations such as custom instantiation, adapters, and serializers, deserializers. We'll also talk about strict iJSON compatibility mode and different binary strategies supported. Let's get started. Here is a first Section 7 video, how to customize your mappings. In this video, I'll explain what customizations are supported in JSON binding and how to create customized JSON-B engine. We'll learn what JSON-B config class is and how it can be used. I'll demonstrate how to produce pretty formatted JSON and how to explicitly specify JSON-B implementation to use in this particular JSON-B engine for low-level JSON parsing. Let's get started. And I'll start with listing all customizations supported by JSON-B. We can customize property names, change default properties order, make properties to get ignored by JSON-B engine, change default way of processing null values, change default visibility strategy, customize date, time, and number formats, choose different binary encodings, use different way of creating class instances other than default non-argument constructor. JSON-B also support advanced and very flexible customization mechanisms such as adapters and serializers, deserializers. In the next videos, we'll study all of these customizations. There are two ways how JSON-B can be customized: annotations, compile time, and runtime configuration. These are all annotations supported by JSON-B. 11 annotations in total. You put these annotations on classes you are processing with JSON-B engine. This is why it's called compile time. You cannot put it on classes you don't have sources for. The second way is runtime configuration. You create a customized JSON-B engine and provide your configuration at runtime. JSON-B config is a class used to create your custom configuration in a builder-like way. Here listed all JSON-B config class methods you can use. Some customizations can be applied only at compile time using annotations, some only runtime using JSON-B config, some both ways. After you created JSON-B config, you use JSON-B builder to build your custom JSON-B engine. JSON-B builder is also used to create a default JSON-B engine. Remember create method? To build a custom engine, you create new builder. It has two methods: with config, where you pass your configuration, and with provider, which can be used to specify a JSON-B implementation you will use in this particular instance. Now let's switch to our sample application and see how all of this works on a simple sample. Here we are in our sample application. As usually, I already pre-created a method which is going to be used by this scenario. And in this scenario, I'm going to create a default engine and create a customized engine which is going to use pretty formatting. And we will customize same object using default engine and using customized engine with pretty formatting to see the difference. Let's start. So we'll create the default agent first. I'll call it default engine, and it's created the usual way JSON-B builder create. In order to create the customized agent, first I have to do is creating JSON-B config. JSON-B config is here, and it's created as new JSON-B config. And you see it has a variety of methods, right? All of them I showed you in the slide. What I'm going to use with, I can't find it, with formatting, this method. And I need to pass through here to produce a pretty formatted JSON from two JSON methods. Now, when config is created, we will use it to create a custom JSON-B engine. Let's do it. JSON-B, we call it JSON-B. And customized engine is created slightly different way, if you remember. Again, I'm using JSON-B builder, but now instead of create, I'm using new builder method. And this new builder method has two methods, with provider and with config. So I'm going to call with config and pass here my config. And after that, I'm just using build to build the custom JSON-B engine. Here we are, we have default engine and we have custom JSON-B engine with pretty formatting. It uses our configuration. You may ask about the second JSON-B builder method with provider. And I already explained that it's used to specify a JSON-P instance which is used by this particular JSON-B instance. So let's just try, and we'll pass there our default instance, which is JSON-P array, like this. We're just passing it new JSON provider impl. This is from Orca Glassfish package, which is basically JSON-P array. With or without it, it won't make any changes because by default JSON-B is configured to using exactly that, right? So I'm going to comment it out, so I'll leave it to you so you see how to use it, but it really doesn't change anything in this particular sample. Now let's find some object to serialize. Let's use this object. I'll just copy and paste it here. So it's JSON, very nice. And now we are going to serialize it using our default engine to JSON. And underneath, I'm going to use our customized engine with pretty formatting. Let's run the code and see the difference. So I'm running the if scenario. Here we are. And this is how default engine produces the output. And this is how our customized engine produces it with pretty formatting. It was an overview of JSON-B custom mapping. This is section 8 of JSON in Java Enterprise Edition 8 hands-on training, JSON-B integration with JAX-RS. In this section, we are going to create a simple JAX-RS application which uses JSON-B, deploy and run it on Glassfish 5 application server, and demonstrate how JSON-B is integrated with JAX-RS. Let's get started. And this is the first video of this section. Sample project setup. In this video, we are going to take a look at setting up a sample project demonstrating JSON-B integration with JAX-RS. Let's get started. First thing we are going to do is download a Glassfish 5 application server, which is currently only one application server implementing Java Enterprise Edition 8. In order to do that, you have to go to a web page, official Glassfish web page, which is javaee.github.io/glassfish. Go to the download page here and select Java Enterprise Edition 8 RI. Go to downloads and click this download link, Java Enterprise Edition 8 full profile, not web profile, so here. I already downloaded it to save time. The second requirement for our sample application is JDK8. It has to be installed and be default on your computer. So in case you are using multiple versions of JDKs, I'm recommending setting up your Java home variable in your bash profile script. So when you open a new terminal window, Java home points on the JDK 8 version, not JDK 9, because if you do so, Glassfish won't work. Next step is creating Glassfish domain. I have my Glassfish application server installed in here. Glassfish 5. So you actually have to go to a bin directory and run as admin application with parameter create domain, and let's name this domain domain1. Enter admin username. I'm going to use defaults. It means that admin name is admin and no password. Here we are, domain is created and ready to use. And here is the sample project itself. Let's take a look at pom.xml. It's pretty much standard. I'm going to use packaging in war because I'm going to deploy it to the application server. It has only one dependency to Java Enterprise Edition API version 8, and it's provided because Glassfish 5 provides it. And here are only two plugins. One is Maven compiler plugin with source and target set to 1.8, and Maven war plugin version 3.2.0 with more or less default configuration. War name is JSON-B. Now I'm going to add our Glassfish 5 instance to my IntelliJ IDEA so we can smoothly run my application. In order to do that, you have to go to Run and Edit Configurations. You need to add a new configuration here and scroll down. Here is 34 items more irrelevant, but that's actually quite relevant because Glassfish is hidden there, Glassfish server, and we are going to use local. Configuration name is, I just put Glassfish here. Now we need to configure our application server. In order to do it, click configure, and I installed my server here. You need to put a location where you extracted your Glassfish application server you downloaded from the official website. Please. Here everything is okay. Now we need to select a server domain, and this is actually the domain what we just created is domain1. And username admin and password empty. Remember, we've done that. No artifacts marked for deployment warning is displayed here. To fix it, just click the fix button and select the first JSON-B-JAX-RS war here. Click OK. Our configuration is ready. We just set up a project which I'm going to use to demonstrate JSON-B integration with JAX-RS.